Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana again with Expressions Craft Studio. And you may remember this card from yesterday if you saw the video. This was created mostly in Design Space. The base of the card was in Design Space. I also cut the flower out of Design Space. Other things were from my stash and whatever. So one of the things I said in yesterday's video, and I apologized because I was incorrect about that, was I didn't just use free shapes for the base of the card because I didn't understand that not all of those shapes were free. They used to be, they're not anymore, and I never made that connection. So I'm going to flip over and show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Okay, so initially the shapes that were available were most of these up here on the top portion of this shapes toolbar. However, when they added stuff, I did not notice this included with subscription. And I did pull a shape from down there, which is this rounded arc, open-ended circle as they call it, shape. I did not realize those were part of the subscription, and I apologize for that. I've probably shared other videos where I said I used free shapes and possibly used shapes from that portion of the toolbar or the shapes menu as well. So again, I apologize for that. However, I can show you a way around that. And so before we go into making flowers, well, I was going to show you how to make flowers with free shapes, and we still can do that because there are a lot of free ones up there. Just not all the ones I wanted to use, but we can make that work. But I want to show you how to make this arc because this is essential for this card. Now, it wouldn't be if you didn't want to cut out that circle. If you just wanted the card to look like, let me just move all of this stuff out of the way. If you just wanted the card to fold here in the center and not have this part flip up, you wouldn't need this shape. And you don't need it. I just thought that that would give a little bit of extra support to that flower. However, it did make the whole rocker portion a little bit flimsier, and I ended up having to put a hinge in there, which wasn't difficult, and I was able to use some of my scraps to do that. But it may be better in the long run to just eliminate that part and then just glue the bottom of the flower to the bottom of the folded circle below the score line. But I will show you how to make this arc in case anybody is interested. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab this free circle. I'm going to minimize this for a second, and I'm going to I want to put all that back together the way it was. And I'm just going to slide that up and over there. And now we're going to go back in and grab that circle. So the way I would do this is I would make that big enough to see for one, and I would change the color just because that dark gray really bothers me for some reason. I don't know why, but if you've seen my Cricut videos before, you know that dark gray color really, I just don't like it. I don't care for it. Now, if it were a t-shirt, I'd wear it, but to look at it on the screen, I don't want any part of it. I can't explain it. Maybe somebody out there knows, but I don't. But anyway, so I would change the colors. Now you've got this circle. So what I would do is I would duplicate it, and I would make this new one just the tiniest bit smaller. So you might have to play with this a little bit because I'm going to have to play with it a little bit. I'm just going to hit the down arrow one time, and that just takes it down less than 1/10 of an inch. So if you center that, you can see that's not really quite small enough. And I'll show you what I mean here. It will work, but it's not going to be just one cut around. Well, let me do this way. It won't just be one cut, start up and over and stop. It will come then in and then back over. So you'll actually be missing this little sliver of the arc at the top here. And you can do it that way. But if you don't, sometimes those little slivers don't cut very well. So what I would do is I would go ahead and make this bigger. I'll add a 5 to the end of that and see what that gives us. And then we'll center it. Align and center. And that's a much smaller. Now it's still probably going to do the up and back cut. So what if we go, let's try 6-5, and we'll center it again. Line and center. That didn't seem to change anything. Oh, it didn't change that for some reason. Let's try that again. Oh, because we had both selected. We just want this one. So 6-5. And we'll center that. Okay, I feel like I've done something wrong, so I'm going to slip this to the back. I did. Okay, so let's just undo it here. Okay, so this top one, 4 point, let's just say 6. I thought it was originally 4.8. So this should work, but it's not. All right, so let's go 5-5. I still don't think that's working. All right, so let's just do 5. Yeah, all right, well, we're going to go back to 4-5 because that looks like that's the smallest we're going to be able to get it on there. So again, we're going to line and center that up one more time, and then with them both selected, you're just going to slice that out of there. And we'll pull those away, and you can see here's your, let me minimize this a little bit. If you pull those away, there's your circle. So now to make it an arc, you're going to pull in another free shape, whether it be a square or a rectangle or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And let's see, if this, just because I want to get it centered, you don't have to go to this much trouble or be this precise, but because the circle is precise, I want to make the half circle precise as well. So that is, what do we say, 4.4, oh, it was 4.486, okay. I knew I saw an 8. So this will be 2.243. So height, 2.243. So that should be half the height. So now I'm going to unlock my proportions here, and I'm just going to stretch this so it goes all the way across the circle. Then I'm going to select both. I'm going to minimize this because it just feels like it's in my way. Now with this circle that we cut out and this rectangle, we've got them both selected. I'm going to go ahead and align them center horizontally just for my peace of mind, and center or align at the bottom. And then we're going to slice. And that gives you your half circle. So if we blow this way up, you can see that it isn't just a cut. It's going to be a cut over, down, back over, and down across the bottom. So it's still going to cut out a sliver, but I'm going to try it again now that I realize what my mistake was. Now this will work. Like I said, though, the thinner the sliver, sometimes it just doesn't cut as well. These should be the same size now. So I'm going to make this 0.46. And we'll center them. Oh, that looks like it's smaller. All right, so let's give that a slice and see what we end up with. Oh yeah, that's definitely thinner. I'm going to blow that way up. Whoa. I think that might work. Now if you cut it and you have problems with it, you might make it bigger or try to make it smaller still. But that's how you'd go about that. And again, you'd cut off the bottom of it. I can do that again just so you can see. We'll get our shape here. Close that window. So this is 4.46. So this is 2.23 is what we need our height to be. And what I'm doing to get that is I'm just taking the height of the circle and dividing that in half. Now fortunately I've used easy numbers, so I can do that pretty easily in my head, but you could always use a calculator if you needed to. Then what I want to do is unlock my proportions here and just stretch that out, and we're going to select both again. We're going to align center horizontally because you want to make sure you've got all of the edges of this circle covered. And then I'm going to align it at the bottom and slice it, and that will cut it right across the middle. And so you can just get rid of that, and there you go. There's your arc. And you can do that with any of the free shapes that are in the shapes menu in the free portion, which is just this top portion. You could even just do that with this half circle shape here, so you don't have to cut it across the bottom. Well, you still would, because it would leave you that line across the bottom, which you're not going to want. Or you'd have to do some more resizing and then use your contour to get rid of, you know. So I think the circle way is easier, but you can certainly try it with the half circle. You could do that with this pill or oval shape, or this oval shape, the squares. You could do that with any of these free shapes up here. But that's how you would make that, since it's not actually included in the free shapes menu. You know what? I'm going to leave that in here. Since we've gone to the trouble to make it, I'm just going to leave that in the file. And what you'll have to do, I'm going to get rid of these. What you would have to do is, I'm going to duplicate this just so I can delete it when I'm done. We're going to get rid of, you know what, let's do it that way. Okay. And we're going to bring this to the front. And it'll lay over the top, and then you can kind of figure out how big you want it. So what I did was, this circle is 5.5 inches around or across. So I wanted to put 1 inch on either side of this, and to do so, then I subtracted 2 inches. So this should be 3.5. Which is the width here, so we'll make that 3.5, and then you can just move that over that shape. It's shaped a little differently, but it's okay, it'll be all right. And so then you could pull that other one out of there. So you know what, let's just do that. Let's go ahead and unattach this, or detach. It's an easier way to say that. I'm going to pull this out of there, and I'm going to move this one in, and I'm going to, let's see, we want to align everything horizontally. And I want to pick that and the score line and align them at the bottom. At the bottom. And then you can attach everything. So there's your free shape. What I think I'll do is, I'm going to just delete this one, and we'll move all of this back over. I'm going to group it together just to make that easier on myself later. Group. Did that group it? Yeah. And we'll just slip that up there. So there you go. So now that is, the base of the card is free. The things on top are not, but if you just want to cut the card base, that portion is free. So I'm going to go ahead and save that for you. I'd already put the file out there on my Facebook page, but this way it is truly free, or should be, that portion of it. Now, oh, I'm looking for the other portions that I created. So I'm going to ungroup, or I'm going to unhide some of this stuff that I put out there. And I'm going to rehide this stuff. Try that again. Okay, so these were some free, well, this one wasn't free actually. Let me ungroup those. Yeah, they are grouped. Okay, so the heart is free, I believe. The teardrop is not, and neither is this shape here, which from the quilting world I'd call it a piece for a fan quilt, but I don't know. Let's see what they call it. They call it elongated scallop. So I'm going to show you how to make that, because that's really easy. So we're going to go back and get our free circle. And then we're going to grab, there's a couple of ways we could do this. You could use any of these things with points. You could even use the squares. You'll just have to turn them rotate them a little bit. So I'm going to try this one here. And we're going to close that just so I can see it better. Let me see, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. So this is the one we're going to make. These are the two shapes we're going to use. So I'm going to pull all of this up over here and out of the way a little bit. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to change those. And this blue just happens to be one of my favorite colors, so that's what I'm going with. So to make this shape, you're going to want to do some slicing, and we're going to start by duplicating this triangle here. So we'll make another one, and I want to go ahead and align them at the top and the bottom, or one or the other. You don't need to do both. And then I'm going to duplicate them in case I need to try something different. Set them over here out of the way. But now I'm going to go ahead and combine and weld them. And so now I'm going to take this circle here, and I'm going to have to play with this for a little bit just to get my sizing. Okay, so now I've got these two triangles here. I'm going to go ahead and center them over the circle just because I feel better doing that. Oh, that's good, because that brings those points right down there to the edge of the circle. So now I want to take this, I want to unlock the proportions, and I'm just going to bring this up past the top of the circle. Now you may be wondering, well, what about these out here? Well, I'm going to show you what to do about those. So now you're going to highlight both pieces, and you're going to slice. And before I do that, I'm going to make a copy of this circle so I don't have to go back over to that shapes menu. There we go. Just in case I need it. So we're going to select both again, and then we're going to hit slice. We're going to pull away everything we don't want and delete it. And it doesn't look like it went all the way through the bottom, although the contour is, oh, it did. Okay. So what we've done now, you don't want these little wings on the outside edge here. Kind of looks like a strange little tulip almost. So with this piece selected, you're going to hit contour, and you're going to then click on both of those pieces on the side. Now you can either do it here in this menu bar on the side, or you can just click on them here. Sometimes if it's small pieces, it's easier to use the menu bar. So once you've done that, there you go. There's your piece. Now it's not quite what I was hoping for, but it's close. So let's try that again. I'm going to flip this up vertical just so you can kind of compare. And let's bring, well, you know what? I'm going to just duplicate all that. And I'm going to go ahead and flip it so I don't have to try and visualize it the other way. Did I flip it the wrong way? No, I did not. Okay. So I'm going to put this circle to the back. And let's see, these are, I'm going to group them just for a second here. And let's just enlarge it. And then we'll pull it down. So you want that to be more prominent toward the top. Okay, so let's center everything. I just like to do that. Oh, I didn't want to do it that way though. I wanted to center it horizontally. I just like to keep everything centered because it keeps it symmetrical, and then in case you get your piece, if you're using solid core cardstock and it's the same color on the front and the back, you don't have to be particular about which side you're using because everything's symmetrical. There we go. So now I'm going to take this, nope, I want the circle. I'm going to unlock the proportions toolbar, and what I want to do is I want to fill in this white space right here. So we're going to drag that down, and think it's okay if it's not completely flat there at the bottom, and you'll see why as we go. Actually, I can just show you over here. It just leaves this shape in the center, which you can contour out if you like. Or you could run another piece across there, a square or a rectangle, and flatten that off if you really want it flat. So I think, let's see here, these I don't believe are welded yet, so I'm going to weld those two together. And then we are going to slice that apart. And there you go. So that's a little bit more like this one here. Now what I would do to reshape it a little bit is I would unlock the proportions toolbar up here and just kind of push that in a little bit. And it makes it more. Now, the rounded part at the top, you can adjust that depending on where you place your triangles over your circle before you slice. That's just something that you'll have to play with to get the look that you want, or unless you have better visual acuity than I have, you might be able to get it a little quicker without making so many attempts at it. But there you go. So there you've got your free piece. So I'm going to delete this because that wasn't copy anyway. And so this is now a petal, a flower petal. So you want to duplicate it. And you're going to flip it. You want it to go vertical. And you're going to create a little bit of space here. Now you can line them right up if you want to, but I generally don't, just because I can use a bigger rotation percentage if I separate them a little bit, and I think that might make sense here when we get to this next step. So I'm going to separate it a little bit, and I'm going to select both of them, and again I'm going to align them, and I'm going to do it to the left. That way they're aligned. I'm going to go ahead and group them, and then I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to rotate it, we'll say 30 degrees. And I don't even need to do 30, but we'll leave it at 30. So then I'm going to duplicate that, and we'll go 60. And I'm just doing it in the even increments, so 30, 60, 90. You can do increments of 10, 12, I think, or 12 and a half maybe, 25. No, 25 doesn't work, does it? No. 30, 15, 45. And any of those numbers divisible by 2. So the 15 would be 7.5. 30 would be the 15. So that's how we're going to do this. So we're at 60 here. Let's duplicate, and we'll type in 90, and we'll duplicate again. Nope, not ungroup. Group, duplicate. And now we'll do 120. And did I do that right? Yes. No, it says 120. I'm going to delete that for some reason. That's not right. Oh, because it went back to 0. All right, so let's do this first one then. Plus, and rotate 120. And then we'll do it one more time. And we're going to make that 150. And we stop there because 180 is half. That's not right either, is it? No. Let's go back to this one. Usually if you just stay on it and keep going, it will be fine, but because I'd clicked off, it kind of messed it up a little bit. So I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to say 150. There you go. So what I was going to say is we won't do the 180 because that would just give us this one here since they're in pairs. And the reason you do that is because it makes it easier to center everything up later. If you were just doing one at a time, you'd have to do a lot of manual placement, and you might not get them all right. So now that we've got everything selected, we're going to align, and we're going to hit center. And I just still did something wrong. Which one's missing? 30, 60, 90, the 120 is still missing. So let me duplicate that one, change it to 120. And we will do that again. Select them all, align, and center. So there's your flower. Now they've got little slits in them. You could, and that's what I meant about the spacing here when you rotate them. If these petals are wider, you'll have to rotate them farther apart. Unless you want them to come together, and then you would rotate them. You would every time you copy it, you would make a smaller rotation number. So let's see. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. So let's do plus. I like the petals separated because I might want to be able to curl them. And if they're attached, they don't curl as well. So that's why I like my petals with a little bit of space between them. And let's just zoom in case you can't see that. You see how there's this space between each petal? I like that. So let me zoom back out here. We're going to go ahead and make a couple copies of this. And I'm going to group this whole thing together. Now, because right now this will cut out as all these individual pieces. What do we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 pieces. To prevent that from happening, you could add a free circle to the center and weld it, and then you've got one piece to cut out. The other thing you can do is if you, let's say, how did I do that up there? Oh, it was because the point was wider at the bottom. That's okay. Never mind. I'm thinking out loud. And I shouldn't do that because I know I mumble when I do that. All right, so this one, let's go ahead and we did that one with 30. So well, let's try 20. 20 is also, or actually, let me just unlock the proportions and I'll just make it wider again. And we'll just stick with 30. That way you can see what the flower looks like doing it the same method. So we're going to make another copy and we'll go rotate that 30, make a copy, rotate that 60, make a copy. I know I'm very repetitive, but if I don't, I get distracted easily. 120. We're going to make a copy and 150. And that will be our last one. So then we're going to highlight these and we're going to align and center. Align and center is our friend. Okay, so now if you were to weld these, you would see this would all become one piece. Let me just go ahead and combine and unite, see what that looks like. Nope, I don't want to do it. Oh yeah, that'll work. So now it's all one piece. So if you wanted to curl your petals up or down, it's not going to be that easy here. You'd have to go in and cut your slices in. So that's why I don't like to do that. Or why I make my piece narrower and wider and such. So let me go, I'm going to just undo some of these real quick because I think that's the easiest way to do it. And I'm going to make this narrower. We're going to unlock our proportions again and make that a little bit narrower still. And this time we're going to duplicate it and we'll do 20. And duplicate. And we're going to go 40. And we're just going to go in increments of 20. So this next one will be 60. And then we're going to do 80. And we're going to do 100. And then we're going to do 120. And then we're going to do 140. Did I? Wait. Yes, I hit the wrong button. I thought maybe I had. Okay, so 140. No, I did something wrong. It's because I clicked off and back on. So I'm going to go select this one again and duplicate and then go 140. So see, as long as you don't interrupt your chain of commands to the computer, it'll just automatically pick up the next one and you don't have to keep clicking on that first one. But if you get messed up, then you got to go back and click on that first one. So I've selected all of them and I'm going to align and center. And I've missed one. Let's see, probably the 160. No, yeah. All right, so we're going to select everything again. Trying not to get that flower, and that's not working. So let me pull it out of the way. Okay, and we're going to align and center because that's our friend. Now you can see, even though I made those smaller, they're still touching each other, and that's because they're not small enough. And that's what I meant when I said you might have to play with it a little bit. The other thing you can do is, let's say you take out every other one. Wait, what did I just do? I want this one. Okay, it's going to be... there we go. Let's try it that way. Nope. It's not letting me select. Alright, I'm going to have to find this the hard way. Oh. I'm going to undo this here. Okay, so this one was right. We want that one gone. So next, I want to start from the other direction. Too far down. So next I want this other one. Okay, so we're going to skip every other one. Perfect. Here we go. Now we're in the right place. Get rid of that one. And this doesn't work because 120 or 20 isn't the right number, or the right degree, I guess. Let's see. Well, you know what? There we go. Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to delete those. And so another number that is divisible into the 360 degrees, which is the number of degrees in a circle. If we did 45, half of that would be 22 and a half. Okay, so we've got this. So let's do it in, I'm going to make it a little bit narrower still. And we will do it in 22 and a half degrees. So let's make a copy. Go 22.5. Copy or duplicate, and then we're going to go 45, duplicate, oops, that's the wrong one, so this will be 67.5, we're going to duplicate, and this one would be 90, no, 67.5, 80, yeah, it should be 90. So 22 and a half and 67 and a half, it should be 90. Did I put in the wrong number? Yeah, I must have put in the wrong number. Okay, so let's go back to this one now. Plus and 22 on top of 90 would be 112.5, and duplicate that, and then we'd have 135, and duplicate that. This is where you're really going to have to pay attention to your math. 135 plus 22 and a half is 157 and a half. And then the next one would be, I believe, 180. Yeah, so we're good. All right, so we're going to select all of those, align and center, and there you go. So this will make a nice flower that you can curl. What you would do is you take your free shape here, make a copy of that, and you're just going to center, or size it the way you'd like it. And we're going to center everything again. And so we're going to go ahead and combine and weld that. So there you go. You've got two different flowers out of the same shape. You've just changed that shape by changing your proportions, by unlocking them and elongating them or shrinking them or whatever. This would be a really nice flower if you cut it in different sizes. So let's change this back color to a dark blue, and let's duplicate it, and let's make it a little bit smaller, and let's change the color a little bit, and let's rotate that. So we did these at 22.5, so it would be 11.25. So rotate 11.25. Now this is where a notebook might be handy, to someplace where you can write these things down. I've done this measurements quite a bit, making mandalas and stuff, so I kind of mostly remember. But if that's a struggle for you, just grab you a little piece of paper and write it down. All right, so let's make one more layer. So let's duplicate, and let's go, and let's change that to a lighter blue. And there you go. Now that one we're going to put back to 0 because we don't want it to line up with the middle layer. And then we'll select all 3 layers, align, and center. And look how pretty that is. And I mean, I would use that. I would totally use that. You could curl each of those petals. It would make a nice little flower. You could do all kinds of different things in the center with your different embellishments, your nouveau drops, or your rhinestones, or you name it. You could do all different kinds of things there in the center. Maybe a piece of glitter cardstock that's that shape roughly. Yeah, so that's really cute. So I'm going to leave that in the file. I will leave this one in the file as well. What I will put that back over there and group that. What I'll probably do is hide them, but they'll be in there if you want them. You'll see them over here as hidden. So I'm going to group those. And you see this eye? We're going to hide that. Now we can't see it. Now we can, now we can't. So that's how you hide stuff. So I said you could do this with other shapes, but this video is starting to get a little long. We're at 40 minutes, and I didn't intend for that to happen. But you kind of see how this works. Let's take this heart real quick, and I'm just going to show you one of the ways to resize this. So we're going to unlock our proportions toolbar again. We're going to stretch that down and in a little bit. And look, there's a leaf petal. So that's pretty easy. The teardrop, if you want to make a teardrop, I'll show you how to make a teardrop. We're going to take this circle, and we're going to come down here. We're going to make 2 more circles. And I'm going to change some colors here. Let's make those dark. Okay, so I'm not doing this quite right. Let me think here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Trying to remember how I would do this. I know I've done it. Well, that's an idea. Let's try something here. Plus, I want to copy, and then we can group them. And let's go ahead and just combine them real quick, or weld. And let's see if we can grab these. I'm going to group those, and we'll move those down. Now we've got this on an angle, so I'm going to have to turn it. I should have paid attention. For some reason it's not letting me. Okay, so you know what, I'm just going to delete it. Let's go ahead and align and horizontal. And now let's duplicate that. Combine and weld. There we go. That makes more sense. So we might need to resize it here. So our teardrop, I'm going to send that to the back, is, we need to flip this, don't we? Flip it vertical. And then we're going to, oh, you know what? The other thing I want to do, I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to slide these over so they meet. So I'm just using my arrow keys now. And I'm going to slide, now that they're both together, I'm going to regroup it. And then I'm going to resize it. Now it's not a perfect teardrop. And actually we probably didn't need to do that circle on the bottom, but we did, so. We're going to align those two together. And before we do that, we have to combine and weld these. Now we can slice. So let's get rid of all of that. Yeah, that's not really what I had in mind. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, this video is getting way longer than it needed to. Okay, I'm going to add these again. Or copy them again, I mean. And let's push this up here out of the way. Let's actually just have two of the same size here. And I want them lined up on the bottom. Or the top, either one. And then I'm going to just kind of, that's not what I want to do. I'm just having some kind of brain freeze here. Let me pull this down. Maybe if I can see it. And of course I've gone and locked it up behind my other shape. Okay, alright, so what I want to do is I'm going to slice right here. And now I've got these two half moons. Get rid of this. And let's grab this circle just because it's a different color. And I'm gonna, let's tip this one in, well, let's do this one 15 degrees. And let's do this one. If 360 is our total number minus 15, we'd be at 345. Alright, so now I'm going to move this to the back. And we're getting closer here. Why is that still not? I want this in the front. Okay, so let's take and let's align these at the top. I'm going to make a copy and group it in case I need it again. And what I want to do right now, I'm going to weld this. And you kind of see you've got a really fat teardrop there, but if you want it to be shaped a little bit more like this, let's bring this to the front. And what we need to do is we kind of need to stretch this, shrink and stretch. So let's go this way. Oops, wrong one. I just want to pull that in. and pull this in. And then we want to kind of, I don't know, we want to pull it up or down. I guess we want to pull it down. That doesn't look quite right though, does it? You know what? Maybe we need to stretch the circle. If it'll let me grab the circle. Just to make it a little easier. And then I think we can maybe make this a little taller and a little narrower, or maybe just bring it up some, or like align it at the bottom. It's not perfect, but you're starting to get the idea here. So now we want to slice. And we don't want that, or that, or that. And this we will just contour out. So it's not, whoa, it's not a perfect teardrop, but you can play with it. That's what I would encourage you to do. Let's get rid of all this. The other thing you might be able to do at this point is figure out, this is it's 2.13 wide. So let's make this smaller. We're going to go a little smaller still. Yeah, that's not quite right either, but you'd have to play with it. But anyway, it is possible to do all this. I just didn't take my time with these guys. You know what? That's right. I didn't take my time with those guys. Let's come back in here. We're going to ungroup it. And we did this at 15, so let's make it 30. And let's make this one 330. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and weld them because I'm going to wrap this little lesson up. I know this has been long. But hopefully you've learned something. Oh, that's better. It's not as tall and pointy, but it's more correctly shaped, I think. So let's do a line, center horizontally. And let's go ahead and slice. Let's see what we've got here. Yeah, it's still not perfect. You still want to contour out that top piece there. But it's you know, it's a little closer than the other one was. So it is possible to do it again. I'm just not I'm not getting my measurements right or something, but I'm going to delete this from the file because it's not a free shape, nor is actually the heart was a free shape, wasn't it? Well, this heart is, this one up here, but this heart down here is not, and I believe that's the one I've selected. So we're going to go ahead and delete that as well, and this, and I'll go ahead and delete that because it's the wrong heart. And let's just clean this up, shall we? Now, what I will do is I will go ahead and group all of these pieces together, and I will hide those since those were all free shapes, and you can play with those if you want. Let me zoom out a little bit. So this one was not made with free shapes. I'm going to leave it in there. I'm going to hide it though. And if you don't use it, you should be able to open the file. If you can't, please someone message me and let me know, and I'll just delete it. Oh, I just deleted it anyway. Let me go back and put that back in there. Yeah, but these I'm going to go ahead and leave over there. So these were made with free shapes. Let me ungroup those for a second. And I'm gonna, let's just go ahead and type that in there. Sometimes you can make your notes right on the canvas. I'm going to change that. For some reason I think red stands out better. So then I'm going to drag it over here. I'm going to enlarge it so I can see it. I'm going to group those all together. And I'll leave those visible. So, oops, I'm going the wrong way. I want to go up. Obviously, they're way too big. Let's do that. Okay. So anyway, long story short, we're about an hour into this, almost. We're at 52 minutes. That's how you can make your flowers with free shapes. Now, I did want to show you how to make some of these cutouts within the flowers, but you saw how I was slicing the circle up. That's basically what you would do here to get these cutouts. So you can, you can create flowers like this, more elaborate. It's just going to take time. Unless you're one of those mathematical geniuses who can just look at it and kind of know what to do. I have to work at it, but you can do this. It just is going to take time and a lot of slicing and a lot of welding. So anyway, like I said, I hope that helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to answer them. I may not see them right away, but when I see them, I will answer them. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of this file. I think the card that I made turned out really cute. Of course, it wasn't all with free shapes, but I think that it would be really cute even with the free stuff. Or maybe you've got designs that you bought somewhere else and you want to import those. You can do that too. In fact, I know Creative Fabrica has some designs, and I will link it below. It is my affiliate link, so I do earn a small commission if you use it. But they have a lot of designs that have SVG cuts that you can cut with your Cricut. You don't even have to have SVGs. If you just import the PNG and make sure it's a nice clean file, you can cut that too. The thing with the SVGs is it should bring in the cut and score lines as well, but depending on the creator, that doesn't always work, so you'll want to double check those. Anyway, that's a lot of information. I'll try to put some chapters below so you can fast forward and rewind easy. And guys, until next time, I hope you have a happy crafty day.